Hey there everyone, Dave here with the first of what will hopefully be many lists on the subject of female representation in gaming. Today, we're going to be looking at 5 women who break with the industry convention that says that what they can and can't be. Now, this is far from comprehensive, but since I'm not a big fan of ranking systems, the numbers on this list are purely arbitrary. Number 5 is not necessarily any better or worse than number 1. Also, because this list requires characters to be dynamic and narrative-driven, there are a few characters that we can't include regardless of their badassery. Excluded from this list are female characters who are just sex-swapped versions of other characters, characters whose personality and actions are 100% driven by player choice, and characters whose primary purpose is to drive the mechanics of the game and all personality is purely incidental. With that out of the way, and the understanding that this video will contain a fair number of potentially major spoilers, here are my 5 favorite empowered females in video games in no particular order. Sequestered in a literal ivory tower in the middle of a steampunk city named Columbia, our first hero on this list understandably starts off needing a little rescuing. Elizabeth, aged 19 at the time of her escape, is overcome with wanderlust and a restless spirit you'd expect from someone who's been locked up their whole life. As you struggle to keep up with her in an attempt to find a way out of the city, it becomes clear that there is more to this girl than we were told about. She's smart, capable, and can rip holes in possibility space without collapsing the dimensional continuum. So yeah, she's magic. While Elizabeth's personality, abilities, and complexity are far and above what a AAA game title could get away with, there's one trope she can't escape. She gets damseled a lot. Like, a lot. I mean, her father/warden/priest/time lord/dictator is constantly trying to get her back, and you are in his city, but come on. This girl can snap her fingers and turn you inside out, switch your sex, and or make you a dolphin. So why does she need a loose cannon cop who doesn't play by the rules to rescue her every single time? However, very little of this seems to matter when you're caught up in the moment, and for all of her amazing moments, I think she can be given a single narrative contrivance. Just don't forget, bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. Okay, so I had to fudge the rules a little on this one, but Borderlands fans will understand, and hey, it's my video, so whatever. Lilith and Maya are both sirens, a special condition that only happens to women on Pandora, and only if their mother is exposed to an ungodly amount of magic space rock energy. Okay, so I'm simplifying that last bit. In the world of Borderlands, a wild and surreal mix of Star Wars Mad Max by way of Alice in Wonderland, these two badasses have a penchant for pumping bad guys full of lead and magic fire in equal measure. Since you can technically play and control these two for most of their respective games, you learn a lot about who they are through audio logs you pick up throughout the wasteland. Both women were created through questionable experiments by separate cults trying to create a space god. While Lilith immediately took to burning down the establishment, the patriarchy, and a few dozen towns for good measure, Maya opted to use her powers to contain some of the planet's biggest threats, and then light them on fire. Whether you prefer Lilith's immolate first, ask questions later style of smashing the state, or Maya's benevolent saver routine, neither of these women have time for your disrespect, pigeonholing, or bullshitting, unless you have a death wish, that is. A couple of years ago, the video game scene exploded with zombie games. Each console, genre, and age group had a zombie game. So believe me when I say, Ellie and her respective game had to do something very special to stand out. Ellie is a 14-year-old foul-mouthed walking zombie cure. Yeah, that's right. Something in her genes makes her immune to the fungus that causes zombies in this world. On paper, that's a great excuse to damsel the hell out of her, but Ellie breaks that mold at every chance she gets. She has weaknesses, sure. She can't swim, she's not particularly strong, and like every 14-year-old, she's constantly struggling with her identity. But she's also unrepentantly pragmatic, an astute problem solver, and a damn good shot, considering most guns are longer than she is tall. Her relationship with her wasteland partner Joel starts out very strained. He doesn't trust her, he sees her as a burden, and most of all, he sees his dead daughter when he looks at her. But several ass savings later, Joel understands just how self-sufficient Ellie can be, and comes around to her dynamically just as the audience does. In a world where zombies roam the streets and humanity has abandoned all ethics, Ellie stands as a great example of the power a girl can have when she's allowed to be herself. Okay, hear me out here. When Tomb Raider was initially constructed as a franchise, Lara Croft possessed absolutely zero of the qualities that would land her on this list. However, when Tomb Raider 2012 was released, it ushered in a new age and a new take on the character. The Lara Croft we met in Tomb Raider 2012 is more realistically proportioned, demonstrably intelligent, and dynamically involved than ever before. Tomb Raider 2012 serves as an origin story, where instead of acting as a static avatar with no character, Lara must save her friends from mystery straight out of Indiana Jones. If there are any complaints to be had, Tomb Raider 2012 goes a bit too hard in trying to prove Lara's strength by taking every opportunity to beat the ever-living tar out of her. On top of that, due to the solitary nature of the game, Lara is really the only character who gets a fully fleshed out narrative. All of the other characters are woefully flat in comparison. However, since so much of the story revolves around Lara and her struggles, by the time you've saved your friends and found a way off the island, you'll understand just how strong Lara is, both as an adventurer and as a woman. That's right, the last person on this list hasn't even hit puberty yet. At least, not the first time we meet her. Clementine, or Clem as she likes to be called, is an 8-year-old living in, you guessed it, the zombie apocalypse. Her parents were at ground zero for the infection on the East Coast, and her babysitter turned soon after they left. Trapped in her treehouse, she's rescued by the protagonist of the first game, Lee. The two quickly form a bond in a way that's inherently different from Joel and Ellie, so that's why she's on here. Clem's strength as a character comes in part from the game's ability to see her differently from the way most games see children. She's not useless or too emotional or incompetent in any real way. She's just naive and small, like a real kid. The world of The Walking Dead forces her to grow up fast, though. Hell, at one point, Lee even shows her how to use a gun, which in the end, she's forced to use upon him to save him from turning. Clem becomes the protagonist of the second game, where Lee's teachings inform each and every one of her actions, leading her to become a strong and independent teenager who leads a large group of people through impossibly tough times. While listening to each and every one of their stories and caring for them all on a deeply personal level. Clem is clearly carrying some heavy emotional trauma, and the game doesn't shy away from that. But Clementine's character is defined by how she confronts and controls that trauma while doing her damn best to minimize the sorrows of others. And she's only 11 at the end of Season 2. Alright everybody, that's it for this one. Let me know what you think in the comments, and maybe I'll do this again. Hope you enjoyed watching.